Hello, all sentient beings, and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review Transformers number 34. Hasbro opens a new gaming division, and we look at some promotional material for Season 4 of Cyberverse. Today is Friday, October 1st, 2021, and this is episode 253 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that doesn't mess with a house on two legs. It just makes sense. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Fantastic fan artist Apollo, aka Robo Apollo.
Hi, what's up, everyone?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hey, everybody. Let's talk Transformers.
All right. And we mentioned that Jeremy is out for this week, but he will be back next week, so never fear. But as always, we start the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. So thank you to everyone who continues to support the show and helps keep everything going. We really appreciate it. And if you'd like to support the show, if you're not already, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. And that's where you can sign up, either on Patreon or PayPal. One of the perks of being a Donatron is that you automatically get access to some special episodes of our Transformers live play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. You get access to the uncut episodes. These are the ones that have not been edited, and they're early, so before the regular episode drops. And this week, or I should say this Monday coming, you will get access to Empire of Rust episode 60 a week before it goes out in the free feed. And this episode is titled just Patient. So that's a reference back to a way back in Season 1, where we had another Empire of Rust episode titled Antissa. You might see some payoff in this episode, but this early episode is exclusive to Donatrons. It'll be out Monday, October 4th. But that's not all. This week, you've got a lot of bang for your buck, because we will also be putting out the first episode of the Empire of Rust Transmissions collaboration, The Rabbit, the Winch, and the Wardrobe. And this will also be exclusive to our Donatrons. And this features yours truly as Scrap Heap, the Junkion scientist, joining a ragtag group of other bots on a new adventure, including Yoshi and two of the cast members from Empire of Rust, Pat and Matt. So check that out. And they will not be playing their regular characters on Empire of Rust. They're playing completely different characters. So it's a new adventure, all new characters, except for Scrap Heap. He's the only returning character. But yeah, and it does tie into the main Empire of Rust storyline much further down the line. But we won't spoil anything here. So this is an exclusive for Donatron. So if you are not a Donatron and you'd like to hear this special episode, you got to sign up. Transmissionspodcast.com/support. Another perk of being a Donatron is being entered automatically into our monthly Toy Hacks contest, and that drawing is coming next week. So you've got just a couple of days to send in your entries, either by becoming a Donatron or sending an email to contest@transmissionspodcast.com with a picture of the Transformer toy you have that you'd like to get stickers for. So yeah, look forward to that. A $10 gift code from toyhacks.com to get any Toy Hacks labels you like. And we'll do that drawing next week. Okay, that's all the updates, and so we will jump right into our comic review. This week we are reviewing Transformers number 34, Lord of Misrule, Sea of Rust 1. Written by Brian Ruckley, art by Anna Malkova, colors by David Garcia Cruz and Evan Gaunt, letters and design by Jake M. Wood, editor David Marriott, assistant editor Riley Farmer, supervising editor Tom Waltz. We have 3 covers. Cover A is Termagax, Starscream, and Novastar look on as the enigma of combination looms in the foreground, and that is art by Winston Chan. Cover B, the Insecticon Swarm, comes for Termagax, and that's by Susan Suna Margovich. And then cover retailer incentive is Shockwave Unleashing the Insecticon Swarm, and that is art by Andrew Griffith with colors by Priscilla Tramontano. So, Paulo, I think you might be a bit biased since your friend has done one of the covers, and cover B. But I'm going to ask you, which cover would you like to pick as your favorite for this month?
Well, it's hard because Winston's my friend too. But I am going to go with my friend Suna. This is her first cover, the cover B. I just really like the atmosphere that she created with her cover. And I thought it was just really clever, the concept with the little Insecticons flying at the characters. And I really just love how she does the lighting. She uses a lot of red lighting in her artwork. And yeah, that's my pick.
Very cool. And yeah, sorry, I forgot you knew Winston as well. So,
yeah, no, it's okay. But yeah, but I did get Winston's cover too when I bought these. But I got Suna's cover. So
awesome. All right, Daryl, which cover are you picking?
Well, I was hoping to get this one at my store, but alas, I missed out on it. I was hoping to get the R.I. Andrews cover. I thought it looked really great. The lines in it were real strong, and just the placement of all the Insecticons through the background and whatnot really just made it look, really menacing and just a real dynamic piece. That's really why I liked it. It just kind of spoke to me as a kind of a violent, kind of ominous cover. So yeah, that's the one I like.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to have a split decision this month because I'm going to pick cover A, Winston Chan's cover. So yeah, we're all picking different covers this month or for this week, this review. And yeah, I just think Winston's cover is very clean. The rendering of all three characters on there, I think is a very cool rendition of Termagax, Starscream, and Novastar. And I think he did a great job there, along with the enigma of combination glowing in the foreground. So yeah, I think these were all three great covers this month or this week for this issue. Mm-hmm. So not a bad one in the bunch.
Agree.
All right, so let's get into the story. Landmine and Giamottis have arrived to survey the Sea of Rust. With the recent tremors in Cybertron, they want to make sure the impenetrable layers separating the region from the rest of Cybertron remain intact. If they aren't, the metal-eating rust worms inhabiting the Sea of Rust could break through and ravage the planet. Observing from the edge of the sand-like particle sea, they notice the worms are more active than usual. Another bot joins them and comments that the worms have recently gotten an enormous meal when the Titan Citadel crashed from orbit into the sea. Landmine and Giamottis greet Termagax, founder of the Ascenticons and now fugitive hiding from Megatron and the Decepticons. She invites them into her home, the autonomous house structure walking on two giant legs. As Landmine and Giamottis accept her hospitality, some unwelcome visitors arrive. Decepticon seekers Redwing, Wingstun, and Space Case have spotted House, and that means more Decepticons will be coming for her. As Redwing flies off to report back to the Decepticons, Wingstun and Space Case close in, thinking Termagax will be easy pickings. They're wrong. Space Case tries to transform and land on the house's roof, but immediately takes off again when he finds out the outer structure is electrified. Enraged, both seekers open fire, trying to blow a hole in the roof. Termagax's house responds with a volley of missiles that attach to their target and deliver an EMP blast. Wingstun manages to avoid the missiles, but Space Case is hit, and his flight systems shut down. The Seeker begs for help as he crashes directly into the Sea of Rust. Wingstun watches helplessly as Space Case is devoured by rust worms. That's enough for him to also retreat and send for reinforcements. Meanwhile, in Crystal City, Optimus Prime presides over a ceremony to christen the new Autobots. All the bots displaced by Megatron's rule and who resisted the Decepticon coup are lining up to get the Autobrand and serve under Optimus Prime. Prime declares that the new Autobots must be better than the old faction and restore freedom, justice, and peace to Cybertron. Optimus asks Pyra Magna to embark on a special mission. He received info from his old friend Bumblebee that Termigax may still have the Enigma of Combination in her possession. He needs Pyra Magna to find her and convince her to work with the Autobots. Pyra Magna is confused as to why Prime wants her to find Termigax, and Prime responds that he thinks she'll be receptive to a request from her. As it turns out, the Autobots don't have to look very far. Highbrow already knows where Termigax is, since his last communication from Giamottis indicated that he had found her. In Iacon, Megatron has an audience with the recently returned Skywarp. Megatron asks where he's been all these cycles and what does he want. Skywarp mentions that he was exiled from Cybertron, but then he wanted to return. But as he was teleporting back to Cybertron, he got stuck in unspace for many cycles. Now that he's returned, he wants to join the Decepticons and get in on the fun. Megatron declares he's gone mad and has no further interest in him. The audience is interrupted as Soundwave reports that Termigax has been found at the Sea of Rust. Megatron tells Soundwave to order Shockwave to retrieve her. At the mention of Shockwave, Skywarp is immediately excited. He remembers Shockwave as one bot he can work with. He asks Soundwave to tell him where Shockwave is, but Soundwave doesn't take orders from Skywarp. Skywarp is unperturbed and says he'll find him himself, then teleports away. Shockwave receives Megatron's order and decides to delegate. He contacts the Insecticons to send their swarm for Termigax. Bombshell isn't really interested in being Shockwave's lackey, but they do have an agreement to work with each other or at least not interfere with each other. So he agrees to send out the clone swarm. After Shockwave hangs up on Bombshell, Sound Blaster asks Shockwave why he didn't send their own, more reliable Insecticon clone swarm. Shockwave replies that he's willing to use the Insecticons as cannon fodder to thin out their ranks as much as possible. After all, the Insecticons will be a problem they'll have to solve eventually. If they fail to get Termigax and recover the Enigma, Shockwave has lost nothing, and Shockwave controls the only functioning combiner right now anyway, Devastator. In Crystal City, Ratchet has finally succeeded in reviving Jumpstream. As she slowly regains consciousness, Ratchet warns Perceptor to go easy with her, but Perceptor is too excited to heed that warning. He asks Jumpstream, what did she see when she jumped away? Jumpstream recalls how she saw another world, an alternate universe. But Perceptor says no, she was in their future, not an alternate world or dimension. This chills Jumpstream, because if that's true, then Exarchon, the threefold spark, is still alive and he's coming back, and he's going to finish what he started and conquer Cybertron. Back at the Sea of Rust, Giamottis continues his survey of the sea using Termigax's high-tech facilities. However, Landmine is nervous and thinks maybe they should be leaving the area as soon as possible. Termigax says don't worry, they've got plenty of time before the Decepticons can reach their position. But then House signals that something is approaching. Termigax asks for more detail, but House's artificial intelligence can't identify what they are. Frustrated, Termigax goes outside to take a look for herself and sees the approaching Insecticon swarm. Landmine can't believe Termigax wasn't aware of the rogue Insecticon swarm ravaging Cybertron, but Termigax has been in hiding and hasn't kept up with current events. It doesn't matter because the swarm is here and Termigax's house isn't defenseless. She orders House to activate all weaponry and engage the enemy. It's an epic battle, but the swarm has limitless numbers and is willing to throw all it has at Termigax's house. The defenses hold up for a long time, but eventually House's supply of ammunition is exhausted. The Insecticon clones latch onto the house and begin to chew their way in. Inside, Termigax apologizes to her guests for getting them trapped in here with her. It seems their end will be coming soon. She has one last trick that she can deploy, but it won't be enough. But before she can do that, House alerts Termigax there are new arrivals coming. The Autobots, led by Skylynx, have come to the rescue. To be continued. That is the end of Transformers number 34. Daryl, what did you think of this issue?
Well, so I thought there was an awful lot of dialogue in this issue. That was as I was still reading it, I thought, holy crap, there's still talking. Like, you know, there seemed to be an overzealous amount of dialogue in this thing. And then they back it up with, exposition. So it seemed like there was just too much talking for me. Now, that being said, there were some pretty good action sequences near the end that all, kind of hinged on house, a giant house that, is, just defending itself. That looked all pretty good. The story itself, it's moving pretty slowly still for this issue. I'm looking forward to, a little bit more battle sequences, I'm assuming the next issue that kind of follows up this one anyway. It may be the next particular issue, or it may be, a couple down the road, but I'm assuming it's just going to be the Autobots that have shown up here to kind of, take care of the Insecticons it's just going to be, well, that was easy. And then, it'll be all done and taken care of in a page. That kind of, thing. I really would like to see more action out of these books.
I'm gonna give you a spoiler, Daryl. The next issue is pretty heavy on the action, and I think you will be happy with the next
fantastic, issue. Because I have not been reading ahead, and I've been kind of just buying the books and waiting to read them here with you guys. So the a couple points that I would have liked to I wanted to kind of point out with the art. I like the art. I think it looks really good. One thing that stuck out to me right off the bat was when I don't know who crashed into the ground and got eaten by the worms.
That was Space Case.
Space Case. That panel looks fantastic with Space Case getting just torn apart by the worms. It looks really good. Well done on this one. With that said, the very next panel, where they talk about the, everyone getting the Autobot symbol, this is the new symbol and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of characters in that scene. It's, it's well drawn. It's, it looks like a lot's going on. As I read it, I would have liked to have seen somebody getting the brand. Put the symbol on somebody, show it being done, right? Because I read it and I thought, you know what? I think I know this is what's happening, but it would have been better to just, have a small little pocket panel where it's just, because I see, is it Huffer? I assume it's Huffer holding this, right? So he's holding this kind of branding gun, and just have it, pushed onto a character or coming off of a character with the brand new shiny Autobot symbol on it, right? Something that just indicates that this is, this is what they're doing. Because I saw it, I read the panel, I read all the dialogue, and I thought, I think this is what they're doing, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're, doing what Megatron did and just, revealing the symbol with like flags and shit. But yeah, I would have liked more, more images there. The stuff with Skywarp, I thought they seem to be making him really crazy, which I'm fine with. Like they're turning him into like the Joker of this, this universe where he's just nuts, but he's also he knows what he's doing, kind of nuts. and that's okay. Let's explore that as well. I liked the imagery of all of when what was it? She stepped out onto the balcony and saw all the Insecticons coming.
Termigax.
Termigax, yeah. The image of that really looked great because it's just they're so far away. You're not going to see a lot of detail in the swarm, and it was massive. It looked great as being ominous, a very ominous image, and it was terrifying, right? But as the swarm hit, you wanted to see a lot more detail in that, and you really only saw any kind of detail in the foreground, and everything else just kind of got blurred in the background. But the sheer destruction that house was able to just unleash was just great, and I loved it. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, it's a good story. It's hard to do detail when you're trying to draw 1,000 of the same thing. So, I get that, something, I don't know what Anna might have done for the Insecticons. I assume that there was probably some kind of stamp created that she probably just would have, stamped around and done a bunch of them in the same thing in different sizes just to kind of make it easier on her. And I don't blame her. I'd have done the same thing. But it's difficult. You got to draw a few of them that are, a little bit better detailed. It's one of those things that it's tough to do. And, yeah. I don't know. It looks good though. The art is definitely looking pretty good here.
All right, Apollo, what did you think of this issue?
I really liked this issue. I really liked the character interaction and how expressive all the characters' faces are. And Skywarp is pretty crazy, which it's fun seeing him be like this in this story. So I'll be interested to see what happens with him. And Daryl, is that page that you were talking about with like the swarm of Insecticons, like I thought that was like, I got a chill down my spine when I saw it. Like I really thought that was a really powerful image. Yeah, and it looks like this was, and you still have to draw the individual shapes of the Insecticons, but it looks like this was like a brush maybe that Anna made, and I don't blame her. I do the same thing. Rather than draw thousands of little things, you draw like 10 different Insecticons, and you can then make this swarm come up. I still think this is amazing, and that's a very creative way to, execute this artwork, and it's really powerful. I also really liked the page where Termigax is just explaining like all the different artifacts. Like there's a mask that she mentions, and I don't remember a mask in Transformers lore being mentioned before, so I don't know if that's something new or if that's something I just don't know as a fan. But I thought that was just a really cool panel because it shows all these, what I'm guessing are primes behind her, and she's like really relaxed in this chair explaining this. But I'll be curious to see what happens next. I do have the next issue. I haven't read it yet, so maybe I'll read that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I also enjoyed this issue. I think it is a bit of a prelude and a setup for the next issue. But I did enjoy, I enjoy the lore. I enjoy, fleshing out the backstory. So getting a little bit more about those artifacts of the 13 primes, and hearing a little bit about the rust worms and where they came from, and seeing Skywarp being this agent of chaos, and I mean Anna Malkova's art is really great and up there with all the great regular Transformers artists, and it's cool to see her getting more work and getting more opportunities to render these bots the way we know they should be shown. Yeah, I mean, I think it's unfortunately, since we are behind on the comics. I mean, we have issue 35 already out, and it's a bit. I'm trying to not grade this on a curve because I really feel like issue 35 pays off a lot of the things in this issue, because it is very very much the raising the stakes, making the events here climax even further. So I think this is a good setup, and also I think a lot of interesting things happen in this issue too. So I appreciated it. But we'll have to get into issue 35 very soon, so you guys can see where we ended up. So I think that does it for our review of Transformers number 34. And we will move on to Transformers media news.
All right, in media news this week, we got another one of those stop motion videos to check out. And this one is containing some figures from the War for Cybertron series and the Studio series. So you can take a look at that. It's entitled Mid-Autumn Festival. I watched it earlier, and it's fun. It's a cute video. Take a look at that. They're doing a good job with those videos. In gaming news, Hasbro is opening up a brand new division to develop AAA gaming titles. These kind of gaming titles, we're going to produce games for Transformers, G.I. Joe, Micronauts, and Ouija. Is Ouija a game? I think it's just isn't it witchcraft? I don't know what's but yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
You could also call it mass psychosis. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, I think they classify it as a board game just so that parents groups won't be up in arms.
Right.
I don't know.
These AAA game titles are going to be for PC and console as well. So I mean, this is
I don't
know how you're going to play
do a
Ouija.
digital Ouija board.
Let me just type. The keyboard's moving by itself.
You've been possessed.
Yeah. So they've set this all up. So expect to see some new G.I. Joe, Transformers, Micronauts, and Ouija games coming to your PC and consoles in the next little while. On Amazon, there's a brand new Cyberverse Season 4 promotional banner. So I guess that's news. I do forget when that those Season 4 movies are supposed to come out. It's got to be coming up because it was supposed to be this year, right? So
yeah, I mean, I'm expecting it. I mean, any day now. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the holdup is, but they never announced a release date, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was supposed to be in 2021. So, but I mean, a lot of stuff has happened in the last 2 years. So, let's give them some slack here to kind of, figure some stuff out. There's probably been some delays, but whatever. And
the banner does feature all the Cyberverse version of the Dinobots, which is something we knew was coming. So in addition to Grimlock, the other 4 Dinobots will be making their debut in this new season.
Very good. Yeah. It'll be just nice to see some new Cyberverse stuff. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
In movie news, we've gotten our first look at Transformers Rise of the Beasts off-road Camaro Bumblebee. I'm not a big car guy. I used to be, but I haven't kept up on cars. I don't think there's an off-road Camaro. Does this obviously is something that's going to be made for the movie? It's nothing you can go and buy in the store. So it's an off-road Camaro. That's an interesting kind of thing. In addition to the reveal of the off-road Camaro, apparently somebody on the set has revealed that some other characters might be included in the movie. These characters would be Wheeljack, Cheetor, RC, Rhinox, Mirage, and Optimus Prime. Now, obviously, we know about Mirage, Optimus Prime, and those two, but the others, that's news. So we'll see how that goes. But these pictures were taken in Peru, so Andrew Griffith, what the hell? Why aren't you sending us pictures like this?
I think is he still in New York? So he's not even home to see all this stuff.
I assume so. He's going to be in Baltimore too, so I don't know if he's going to be traveling back again. That's a lot of travel. And the last one is that today, being September the 26th, it is day 1 of 2 for the re-showing of Transformers, the 1986 animated movie. And, we got 2 people here on the show right now that saw it. Charles and Apollo both saw it in theaters today. So, was this the first time for both of you going back to the theaters since, early 2020?
No.
I've been back a couple times.
Okay,
so.
Well, that question fell on its ass. All right.
Yeah, it's my second time. I went last week to see Premiere.
Oh, okay. So Charles, let's start with you. You've seen the movie in theaters before because I believe you were 25 when it came out, and. A very immature 25. You went to see an animated movie, in 1986, but you saw it anyway. How did this compare to the last time you saw it?
Well, I was 10 in 1986 when I saw it. So, it was fun. It was fun seeing it again. I did actually get the movie experience 5 years ago for the 30th anniversary. I took my son, who was 9 at the time, to go see it at the 30th anniversary. And now at the 35th anniversary, he's 14 and he still went. And I took my daughter, who is 10 now. So she's 10 now and I was 10 35 years ago. So it was this circle of life. And, when I was 10, my dad hesitated to take me to this movie. He made me wait because he had to see the movie first because he had to make sure it was okay for me. There's swear words in Transformers the movie, so that was a big issue. And I took my daughter to see this, and she pointed out the swear words, is like, "Oh my, there's swear words." I'm like, yeah. It's okay. It's fine. Just don't repeat them. It's fine. I'm sure you already are familiar with the swear words. But everyone had a good time. I took my nephew and my son and daughter. They all enjoyed it. My nephew is 18 and he had not seen Transformers the movie before, so he enjoyed it too. And everyone had a good time. And the theater was actually very lightly populated, so it was not a full house. It was not, but there were all big diehard Transformers fans there. Everyone laughing at the appropriate points in the movie, and it was a good time. It was fun.
Good. So okay, we now know that you're a worse parent than your parents for taking unsanctioned taking your children to see this movie with swears in it. But I'm glad they all had a good time. Did anybody get traumatized?
I don't think so. Didn't see, at least I didn't detect anything. Apollo, I don't know if they did this in your theater, but before the movie, they had a bunch of those stop motion shorts, like advertising the Studio Series figures. So, and it's similar to the ones you mentioned, the Chinese one that we mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. But these were productions that all used they had actually John Machida was kind of the main voice actor in each of these shorts. And Blur didn't feature that much. Like Blur had one little cameo, but he was John Machida did several voices, and then Greg Berger did some voices too, But there were no Grimlock. There was no Grimlock in any of the shorts, but they just had Greg Berger doing voices. So
wow,
it was interesting. Like one little short had Scourge leading the sweeps to go to attack the planet of junk, and then the sweeps are like, hey, because Scourge is like, okay, Cyclonus has ordered us to go attack on the planet of junk, and then the sweeps are all like, hey, is Cyclonus Bombshell or Skywarp? And Scourge is like, no, he's Skywarp. I was Thundercracker and he's Skywarp. And they're like, are you sure? Because it looked like Skywarp and Bombshell turned into Cyclonus. And Scourge is getting annoyed. He's like, no, Cyclonus is Skywarp. And then the sweeps are like, well, we used to be Insecticons, so we would much prefer if Cyclonus had Bombshell had actually been turned into Cyclonus. And so it was a nice little back and forth, and it was,
that's funny. I hope they get released so that everyone else can see them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was trying to see if they had put them up on YouTube yet, but it doesn't look like they're up there yet. But I expect they will be.
Apollo, why don't you tell us about your experience? Because I think you said this was the first time you've seen this in theaters.
Yeah, this is my first time, but since we're talking about the shorts right now, my friend, he helped write those shorts, and he was the producer on them, I believe, Joe Troutman. If you saw his name, I didn't get, I didn't have my phone out, so I couldn't take pictures of the credits when watching, but he was really involved in that, and he has a Facebook group called Transformers Till All Are One, where fans and talent come together, and him and Flint Dille co-wrote those together. And I think they recorded the audio in LA too. Yeah, it was really cool seeing a friend have their name on the credits. I mean, it's cool seeing, the people that have been involved in Transformers since the beginning, but to see, another fan contribute to these was really cool. My favorite one, because there were three, I liked the one where Rodimus drops the Matrix. I thought that was so funny. I was just like, that was really funny. And they're like, can we get someone else? And then there was one with Jazz too, and then I like the scene where it's like, oh yeah, these guys die also, and I think it's like Optimus and Starscream, and then they look at the camera like, wait, what? Yeah, so that was really cool seeing that. They had trivia at the beginning too, before the movie started, and then they had a bunch of ads for that deluxe Bumblebee figure, not deluxe the size, but that one. I think it's $80.
Yeah, the statue. Was it 3-0? The statue. The company that makes the statue.
Yeah, they had ads for the Transformers stuff before those little shorts played. But yeah, this was my first time seeing the movie in theaters. In 1986, I was 3 months old, so I wouldn't have been able to have seen it, I don't think, or I wouldn't have been able to remember it. But yeah, it was really, it was cool seeing it on the big screen, and our theater was quite full, I would say, for pandemic. The middle section was mostly full from what I saw. And I mean, people were sitting apart, but and it was, I think I only saw one little kid there with who I'm guessing their parent. The rest were in our age group. The laughing started at the opening line when the narrator went, "It is the year 2005. People started laughing, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be like this. And there was a lot of laughing, with the bickering of, between Megatron and Starscream, and when Starscream kicks Megatron and stuff like that. But it was really cool seeing it on the big screen. There was a lot of things I didn't notice watching it at home, especially a lot of the little lights on the computer terminals, and also when they're welding the ship. At one point, I didn't really notice these tiny little details, on my TV, versus watching it on the screen. But every time you watch that movie, you catch something new. Like, the thing I noticed today, there was like this scene where the Dinobots are attacking Unicron, and like they're behind Unicron. I think they're actually like attacking like his behind, and like he's like looking over his shoulder, and I'm like, I did not notice this before. And then there's a part where Perceptor's like, after Rumble and Frenzy are thrown off him, he's like cracking his neck or something, and I'm like, just like little things like that I didn't notice. What was a really cool experience was that no one left the movie theater. I didn't see anyone at least leave until the credits were completely over, and like no one got up right away. And I thought that was just like really cool, because usually people leave when the credits come on, and everyone was kind of like converging at the end, like I don't think people wanted to leave. It was a really cool experience. I'm glad I got to see it. The other thing that was funny, though, is it seemed like everyone who was in the theater all sat like almost together. Like, you have the whole space, but everyone was like in like this specific block of rows in the middle. So
Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
As somebody who's seen it a 1,000 times, I still have only seen it the once in the theater when it originally came out, and it would be nice to see it again, but it was an hour's drive from here today, and it wasn't going to happen. So, but yeah, I'd like it to, maybe they'll bring it back to a theater a little closer. But yeah, I'm glad you guys got to go and experience it once again. But that's it. That's it for media news this week.
All right. Well, then we will wrap up the show with convention news. All right. We mentioned this in the toy show, but yeah, we have a couple of news bits around TFCon. So the first one is due to the boneheadedness of the U.S. government. The border is still closed at least closed in the direction from Canada to the U.S. So that means Daryl is unable to make it for TFCon Baltimore. Yeah. So a bit of a Price is Right losing horn sound there.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. I will still be there, so I will be at TFCon Baltimore representing Transmissions. But if you are going to TFCon Toronto, December 10th through 12th, right before Christmas, if barring any unforeseen weather mishaps, Daryl should be at TFCon Toronto. So I guess Americans can cross the border to go if they can make it during that time. But yeah, so you can say hi to Daryl. I will not be able to make it to TFCon Toronto, but yeah, we'll have Transmissions representation at both shows. So look forward to that. And that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. As always, at the end of the show, we give a shout out to our Masterpiece Donatrions. And so thank you again to John Forex Levengood, Downabot Maximize, and Demon Tech 82 for continuing to support the show at our highest level. We really appreciate it. And you can buy some merchandise from our TeePublic store. That's at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. That also helps out the show. You can buy some of our shirts, masks, other merchandise, and anything from TeePublic through that link will help out the show. Apollo, thanks again for joining us this week, and tell everyone where they can find your stuff online.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on. I always like to come on and talk Transformers with you guys. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at RoboApollo, and I have commissions open right now. The information's in my pinned tweet. I also do talk Transformers, or I guess write, because it's Twitter. So that if you ever want to just message me, I'm available. And thanks for having me on again.
Thanks for joining us. And that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.
Got it?
Yes.
Got it.
We just won't mention all the mistakes Daryl's made over the years.
I don't make mistakes.
There's happy accidents.
Yep. I've held that section together for years.
All right, here we go.
You haven't started yet?
I was about to. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doot.
The next one is business stuff. Maybe we should save this for Jeremy because I haven't read it at all.
Let's just skip it entirely. Mike, just cut this whole thing out.
Business. Business.
We need Lord Business back.
Yes.
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.